Chicago's Progressive Talk.
And I'm Isaac King. I am the co-host of the SIP Radio Show on Urban Broadcast Media.
So you should check it out because it's really, really good. And this is like gay Super Bowl. So it totally is. We're the pre-show.
Right. But it's usually halftime.
Yeah, our halftime's really good. We had a whole thing, a Mariah thing going on here. But tonight...
She's coming from the roof.
She's going to dive off the roof. Remember when she used to dive off of things a lot? Just shimmy out. That's what we're going to do.
Now she gets carried everywhere she goes.
Yes. Well, tonight here at the Second Presbyterian Church in Chicago, we are going to be chatting with 5 Democratic gubernatorial candidates. They are Senator Daniel Biss, Madison County Regional Superintendent of Schools Bob Dibert, activist Tio Hardiman, businessman Chris Kennedy, and businessman J.B. Pritzker. I had to write everything down because I didn't want to mess anything up or forget anybody's names. So, and we're very, very excited to hear from these candidates. It's going to be the one forum where LGBTQ people from Illinois are able to ask the candidates questions that directly affect our community. Yes.
Yes. I mean, J.B. Pritzker.
Awesome. Yeah.
I think it's because of name recognition, obviously.
Of course, yes.
But
we love your pavilion.
We love your pavilion.
We do. That pavilion's fantastic. Don't you think?
Yeah.
In the summertime, it's great. So we are going to be... Oh, do we have a casualty? Oh, it's just your phone.
I know. Okay.
Sorry. Make sure you shut up. Folks, your best side. So right now we are waiting. Crowds are coming in, and in about an hour, we're going to get things started with the candidates. I'm excited to hear what people have to say and what the questions, because we've actually been taking questions from people all over the state. You submitted some questions they're going to be asking of the candidates. I'm really curious to see what people are going to be asking, because
I actually did a Facebook posting yesterday for the Democratic nomination. And asked them if there was anything that they wanted me to ask.
What did people say?
Oh, it really got deep.
I bet. I mean,
yeah. I mean, there was everything from, of course, jobs and violence in Chicago. What they expect us to do about transgender, I guess, murders.
Yeah. Well, because we've just hit 27 in the country this week.
Right.
I think it was so.
Yeah, so that was a major thing too. But I mean, jobs. I mean, it was the regular stuff, but it was a more global concern.
Yeah. Because I feel that we're fortunate enough to be living in Illinois, and especially up here in Chicago. We are as LGBTQ people, we're pretty well protected.
Yeah.
You can't
Chicago's blue.
Chicago. but we can do so much better. I mean, I think it'll be very interesting to see what we have to say and to see where these moments of intersection happen.
Yeah.
Because of course we want to make sure that we have our trans students. I know that's been a huge thing throughout the entire state. We've had cases about trans students being able to use the locker rooms that line up with the gender with which they identify. I know as you were talking about in terms of state transgender safety, we have hit the 27th mark, not here in Illinois, but as a nation. So trying to look for these protections for our trans brothers and sisters, especially our trans sisters of color.
People are also really concerned about what's going to happen at the Supreme Court level.
Oh yeah. What just happened yesterday?
Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's to me is really troubling to think that we could actually roll back on the progress that we've made.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, that one. What is it? Miracle? What's the name of the bakery?
Oh, I don't know.
Masterpiece. That's what it is. Masterpiece Bakery. That doesn't sound gay. I mean, come on. You're a bakery.
Right.
Make the nice gays their cakes. Come on.
So they want to be able to put up a sign that says we don't make.
Well, no, that was what the administration. That's what the White House administration offered. So would you be? Oh, that's all right. He has places to go. Take a case that was being heard. They had oral arguments yesterday in front of the Supreme Court. It's just discrimination, and it's also under the assumption that the only religion is conservative Christianity.
Exactly.
There are whole.
Or they really try. Their policies that they try to push are that the only religion that matters is Christianity. The only one that matters.
What about our Zoroastrian friends? You know?
Absolutely. But
So
seriously,
but I mean, so they're basically looking at it as a way to discriminate. Sarah Huckabee Sanders yesterday at the press briefing, she was asked, "Does the White House stand by this decision?" And they said,
She basically said that they did.
we can put up signs saying that we do not serve gay people here. And I on social media yesterday kind of blew up on my feed, at least I don't know about you.
Okay.
Where people were like, "Good, I want to know where not to go, where I don't want to give them my money. I want to know these places up front." And I get that.
Yeah, but it's the equivalent of whites only, coloreds only. Like it's just
I'm about to shred on the guitar right now. It's about to get rock and roll in here. That's what we call feedback, which we're gonna hopefully get from you all. Yes.
Right. Bring Kenny up.
Oh, hey Kenny, come on up here. We're gonna chat with some. Here we go, Kenny.
Hi, how are you?
Well. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Tell the lovely people downstate who you are and
Absolutely.
who you represent.
So my name is Kenny Martin Ocasio, and I represent ALMA, which is the Association of Latinx Motivating Action. It is the longest-serving organization for the Latinx community, LGBT Latinx community in Illinois, actually.
Oh,
We're
wow.
going on 30 years in 2. So we'll be sending out invites to our celebration. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, indeed. And I want to know what, if any, solutions, pragmatic solutions, do they bring to the table?
What issues in particular would you identify as ongoing?
I think I want to make sure that they understand that marriage equality did not solve everything for us. It was just one step towards many other issues that we have to continue solving. But I want to know about what their positions are around their representation, the lack of representation, just present. I also want to know what thoughts they have on the continuing issue of the violence against trans people of Tinsar.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of got lost in thought because we were talking about on Out Chicago on WCPT 820. You can stream it every Sunday from 11 to 1. Look at that. But we've been talking about the number of trans women who have been murdered earlier on. Like there's 27 is just a random number. It's kind of a guess,
right?
Because there are people who are still being misgendered. There are crimes that are no longer being reported. There, there are all these things, and I think that's part of it. But I agree with you. I think we do need to hold our officials accountable to see what pragmatic would
are often used for a lot of exercises around what promises are made, but little around what promises are actually kept. So I'm looking forward to where are we in their priority list, and how do they really understand what our community needs?
Are you looking to hear specific policies from their platforms or their agendas about these?
I think at the very least an understanding, and ideally some specific policies around any of those issues. Even the LGBTQ immigrant community, that's one of the things that ALMA faces the most. The fact that coming out as gay is actually sometimes easier than coming out as an undocumented immigrant. And so we go back into hiding as a result of that, especially in this environment in which we are now feeling even more pressure and more ostracized by this administration at the national level. And so we have a lot of folks experiencing a significant amount of trauma and depression and not wanting to come out, not wanting to seek out resources and support. And so, again, we want to know, so where is this in the minds of the candidates at the state level?
So you'd like to know their stance on DACA and comprehensive immigration?
Absolutely, and all on sanctuary cities. On making sure that funding is not denied to us because we're not necessarily pandering to the national administration, to the federal rulings. So yeah.
Is there a particular summing up what everyone's going to be interested in?
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. You're going to be moderating, aren't you?
I will be.
One of the moderators. You're going to see him later. So yeah. Thank you, Kenny from Alma. I think it'll be really interesting too, just where people land on healthcare.
Yes.
And the budget.
And the budget. And I think people really need to understand that in the new tax bill that Medicare is on the table to be cut, and that cancer treatments for Medicare patients will be eliminated, period. And for people who have HIV, who are susceptible to so many different cancers because of their condition, this is a huge, huge, huge issue for us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as a community. And I really want to know, like, I want to know specifics. I want to know, like, how much money you want to set aside to handle this, you know, this situation, because
that shouldn't be.
That's unacceptable.
That is unacceptable.
Yeah. So there's some kind of disconnect.
Yeah. So do you think it's about a matter of education, a matter of having resources, and having accessibility to PrEP? Like what?
I think it's a combination of all those things. As far as the PrEP issue is concerned, I don't think that PrEP is marketed to black gay men the way it's marketed to white gay men.
I got a question. But don't you think, here in Chicago, do you think that we're getting better with that? I mean, we have organizations like, AIDS Foundation Chicago with like Howard Brown. Howard Brown is spreading all over the place. Oh, there we go. Oh, hey. Special guest star. That guy. That's awesome.
Okay,
now back to HIV.
Don't get all Christian Bale, though, okay? I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. Come on, I'm doing this thing.
Okay,
No, but I mean, we have organizations that are moving out and that are trying to serve underserved communities.
I think there's been a concerted effort to improve on this in the past 2 years, but we're nowhere near to where we should be. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, especially, with this, oh my gosh, we have Art Johnston here. Are you kidding me? All right, come on up here. I'm so excited about this. Folks downstate, this amazing human being right next to me is Art Johnston. Here, you're going to take this for you. There you go. He is one of the owners of Sidetrack. He has been a long-time LGBT activist. We bow down. Bow down to you. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm thrilled to be here.
So excited to have you here, especially somebody who's had such a long career of fighting for LGBT rights here in Chicago.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what are you most interested in hearing tonight?
To hear candidates talking about what they already know about us, and even more important, the taken care of. And every one of us knows that is simply not the case. There's no question we've made enormous gains, many of them because of the work of Equality Illinois and the other organizations here tonight. But there is so much more to be done so that true equality is not just a statement of intent, but the reality of people's lives. In the state of Illinois, for example, we have large groups of people who cannot get competent health care. The number of trans people in Central and Southern Illinois who get on buses and come 5, 6, 7, 9 hours to Chicago because there is not competent health care that's culturally sensitive anywhere in the state except in Chicago. And we're blessed in Chicago, but we must figure out how to fix that. And we're going to need the help of the new governor. And at first, they need to learn about those things. So that's only one example of what we need to do. And it means that we all need to express an interest in the election. And they're going to be surprised what they're going to see tonight, these candidates, the number of people in our community who are interested. And we need to all turn out and vote and talk to our friends and continue to be an even stronger force in our state.
And then wanting to know that they had a desire to know more. I think that those things are like so key because a lot of times you feel like candidates just tell you what you want to hear. And they may have done, some, if people are able to tell us what they actually know about us, we can know how vested they are in brightening our future.
Yeah, and I thought, all right, thank you, Art, so much.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you
so much.
Guys.
Nice to meeting you.
Thank you.
There were actually, I know at least 3 of the candidates did have a designated LGBTQ section on there. And, Senator Daniel Bitz, the little ANTM.
What's that?
America's Next Top Model. Like Men's Magazine, fashion. Men's Magazine, fashion.
Was that
This is
fast?
thrilling for you. You don't watch America's Next Top Model? How can we have you choose our next governor if you don't watch ANTM? Do you know the Smize?
You're right. You're right. Okay.
Smize, see?
Yeah.
But I was smizing. Thank you very much. I got one appreciative smizer over there. No, but I was looking around, and Senator Daniel Biss. He's in the Illinois Senate right now. He was part of banning the gay panic defense.
Okay.
Which we all know what do you know what the gay panic defense is?
They're panicked by gays.
Well, but it used to be under Illinois law, the fear of someone's sexual orientation or identity cannot be used as an acceptable defense for violence.
Oh.
And we're actually there. It's shocking.
That's a thing.
People get like with Harvey Milk. Well, Harvey Milk. That was the whole Twinkie defense.
Yeah.
Because he had so many Twinkies that he was like all sugar. But now there was a whole a thing about gay panic, where people have been using the fact that like you are gay or bisexual or trans or somehow other. That causes me distress. Therefore, I can kill you. And you know what? That's actually a law. It's not. That's an acceptable defense in several states still.
Southern mostly.
On the nosy.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we need this person right over here to come up here. Drink your water. All right, come on up then. Come on up. I'm so excited
Oh my
to
God,
see
your
you.
skirts are beautiful.
So I'm going to give you a hug. Oh. Hi, how are you?
Good. I hate this.
You know Isaac.
Hey, Isaac, how you doing?
Here's a microphone for you.
Director of the Pride Action Tank, which is a project of the AIDS Foundation of Chicago.
And what exactly do you do in that tank of action?
What do I do? A lot of stuff, but
I know what you do. You do everything.
I try
You're
not
like
to.
Visa. You're everywhere we want to be. It's true. She is all over the place.
And some places you don't want to
And
be.
some places, we're thankful for you to go do that.
But Pride Action Tank is a project incubator and think tank focused on action that leads to improved outcomes and opportunities for LGBTQ people.
So you're out there fighting the good fight and coming up with great ideas.
Yeah, we've got a tiny homes project we hope to break ground on in the spring.
Oh, is that really?
Yes, we're partnering with La Casa
Yeah.
Norte.
Tell us about the Tiny Homes Project.
Sure,
'Cause
sure.
Some people may not be familiar
So
with
the tiny home, the idea for us for tiny homes, specifically for youth who are experiencing homelessness, came out of a summit that Tracy Baim and I did in 2014 on LGBTQ youth homelessness. So this was before Pride Action Tank started. We actually had a summit on tiny homes and a design competition several months before, and one of the prizes for the winning designers was that a model of their winning design would be built, which we had built just before our summit started. So after the first day of the summit, people could walk out of the UIC, which was hosting, and walk right into a tiny home. And over the next year or so, we left the model up, but in a different location. We had over 1,000 people come through, including youth, other folks experiencing homelessness, service providers. The mayor came by, Cook County Board President, and mayor loved the idea and encouraged us to move forward. So since March, we've been actively working towards building Chicago's first tiny home community. We'll see if it happens first, but it's one of only 2 in the nation that we know of for youth who are experiencing homelessness.
Well, this sounds like a really great project for the next governor to be working on, don't you think?
I think it's a lovely project for that governor to be working on.
Have you been looking at locations yet for that?
Morte, which has been doing housing for youth for the last 15 years or so, and so I'm listed as a co-moderator along with Imani Rubric.
A chance to hear from him.
So it's a community forum.
It is definitely a community forum.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to tonight?
Well, really the answers to the questions, because we're very mindful of getting input from community on these questions that were structured in some cases by community members. In some cases, we kind of lifted up themes and developed questions from multiple questions. And we really think it's important for the LGBTQ.
Did you see any sort of pattern kind of developing? And
Well, we looked at essentially lifted up about 6 themes happening at the national level and how we're being threatened in ways that we haven't been threatened before in terms of public policy. I shouldn't say before, but in a long time, right? So the whole tenor of the country has changed. And then because of the budget impasse in this state, there have just been a number of priorities that have shifted so drastically because the resources have either been delayed or just not there. It's possible for the everyday folks who may not be able to come to a rally or something like that to actually hear what folks are saying.
So as far as homeless youth are concerned in Chicago,
Notice that they're about to fully address this issue. And one of the challenges just in general around youth homelessness is getting an accurate count. And you'll never have a fully accurate count, right? But there haven't been consistent attempts to do this. There is actually a study, and they did this really huge, I think in other organizations, we're really looking forward to digging into that data. I will say that Chicago public schools, like public schools across the country, have to count students who are experiencing homelessness or housing instability.
And that number's kind of high here in Chicago.
It is. It's about 18,000. It has gone down a little bit over the years. It's about 18,000. A significant number of them are unaccompanied youth, meaning they are not in the foster care system, they are not with parents or guardians. And we're really concerned about them, particularly because they're not attached to families or these systems for a number of reasons.
So they're not getting any services, any...
Right. And in Chicago, there are under 400 beds devoted to youth.
How many?
And under 400. And of
18,000
those,
beds.
yes. Families, but when you look at the unaccompanied, I highly recommend
Everybody
it.
out there, you need to watch The Home Stretch. It is an incredible movie that follows 3 young people in Chicago experiencing homelessness. It gives you all these different experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
So it kind of paints an incredible picture.
At 17, I did it for a month, and I never want to experience that again.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Remember it.
Yeah. Yes.
And we want to young people across the state.
Say about that, but definitely more resources are needed in that direction.
Awesome. Well, Kim Hunt, thank you so much for being here and doing the work that you do.
Always a pleasure to be with you. I love you.
I love Isaac.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
I will see you.
Thank you. All right, there goes Kim Hunt, hardest working woman in Chicago, and I think we're going to bring the other tied for the hardest working woman in Chicago. Come on up here.
It's too tall.
Oh, really? We can stand if you like. All right. Take this for you. Hello, by the way.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Could you care to introduce yourself to the folks in Illinois?
Tracy Bain, publisher of Windy City
For
News.
2 years now. Yep. It's serving the LGBT community here in Chicago. What sort of trends have you been seeing as you all have been covering this?
Well, I think the excitement for this governor's race is higher than I've seen in past years, and I think in general the electorate is more electorate. And I have to say, and I was saying to Bryan Johnson the other day that I think this is probably, if everybody comes that have RSVP'd for tonight, is definitely going to be the largest candidates forum I remember in the LGBT community. A few years ago, there was one for when Rahm Emanuel was running for mayor. There was an LGBT candidates forum downtown, and it was maybe a couple hundred people could fit in there. So it's great that they picked a really large venue, and this is really exciting to have this many people interested in politics.
Yeah, well, I think it all comes back to the Women's March that started everything. I think that was the thing that...
I think it goes back to a couple months before that.
But I think...
but the Women's March is absolutely...
The Women's March, I think it's like, it was a moment here. I remember when we were, it was the week before the Women's March. People are going to show up. And it was
you need a plan B. It's not going to be 20,000 people. It may be over 100,000 people. But at that point, really 100,000 was the dream.
The dream, right.
And it was, 2.5 times that.
But I think it was that moment here in Chicago and across the country that kind of galvanized us. We realized the world, because they were marching in Antarctica.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think there really is that was a moment that kind of galvanized the communities. to speak out against this administration nationally.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of communities that already felt that politics wasn't addressing their needs.
Right.
Before this election, and
Right.
even didn't see this election as something that was going to solve the problems. I think it was this additional whole group of people that were not used to feeling disenfranchised, that were so angry about what happens. And I think as a white woman, I would have to say that I think other white women that helped elect Trump are the ones that also really played into a lot of that horrible narrative of 2016 in terms of not supporting a woman candidate because they believed a lot of the lies against them. And here's what we got as a result.
So what are you looking forward to this evening as the gubernatorial candidates are being formed?
Well, you know, most of the Democratic candidates are going to be in 99% agreement, right? So it really is on the nuance and how are they going to get the job done effectively, including working across the aisle, including working with a state house that's been controlled by the same person for over 3 decades. So really, it's the nuance that you need to look for because they're almost all going to be in agreement on a lot of the LGBT issues that we care about, HIV issues, etc. So how effective are they going to be as a leader?
All right. Well, Tracy Bain, thank you so much for coming up here. And well, let's bring you on up. Hold on, we've got a cavalcade of stars here. Yes.
Hooray.
Hooray. You're fancy because you've got a pen and a microphone.
I'm double mic'd. I'm double mic'd.
You're double mic'd.
Right.
And tell these lovely folks in Illinois who the heck you are.
So I am Bryan Johnson. I have the great privilege of being the CEO of Equality Illinois. And the great misfortune of following Tracy Bain, who gave all the smart answers. So now I must be like the color guy.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's the shirts.
There you go. There you go.
We're power clash.
That's so true.
So I'm sure folks are familiar, but what exactly does Equality Illinois do?
Yeah, Equality Illinois is our state's statewide LGBTQ civil rights organization. So we focus on 3 things. We promote and advance pro-LGBTQ policies across the state. We inspire LGBTQ leaders to become more publicly active in their communities. And we work to build and support the building of civic power among LGBTQ communities throughout the state.
And that, I think, is very important to kind of reiterate that it's across the entire state. I know we here in Chicago, we tend to think like, oh, it's just us. You know, but
we are everywhere.
We're everywhere.
And that's why tonight, I mean, having watch parties in Springfield and Carbondale and the Quad Cities and Peoria and Normal, East St. Louis. Sorry, Harold, East St. Louis. It's such a sign that, you know, our community, and I'll be mentioning this tonight, you know, our community lives in every ward in this city. We live in every...
Relatively newish to Equality Illinois.
I am. A year and a half. I took over when I was 16 years old. Interesting tonight is we actually sourced questions from people throughout the state, and then we tried to pick concrete questions from actual Illinoisans that represented key issues that were coming up the most. I have to say, I mean, there are differences across the state, and I want to honor that, particularly for different communities across the state. But I was surprised when I first started listening how common the concerns were, but maybe how those concerns are expressed may be different. So I'll give you some examples. Very concerned access to is different, and the stories you hear about that are different, but the concern is still there.
Gotcha. So what are you're going to be one of the moderators this evening.
I am. I ask one big question. My co-moderators ask all, then we go. Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least 30 minutes.
I just broke the don't use your hand rule.
Totally.
That you were talking about.
Totally.
Using my hand.
So I know you lobby for LGBTQ
Take the microphone now.
The mystery question.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you lobby for LGBTQ rights with government, but do you ever endorse candidates?
We don't at our C3, the Equality Illinois Institute, which is hosting this event. We do have a separate organization with a separate board, the Equality Illinois PAC, which does do endorsements. Okay. So that is not us, and that's not who we are tonight, but we do have a sister organization that does do that.
So tonight is just a fact-finding mission for everybody here in
It
attendance
is.
and everybody out there.
It is. I mean, whoever is running for governor should know about the issues facing the LGBTQ community, and our community members should know who the candidates for governor are and what their thoughts are on issues that are important to us.
Well, and we're very excited about it.
We are too.
I know.
Yeah.
There we are. So, Bryan Johnson, anything
Thank
else
you.
you care to add before you?
No, we're excited to have everybody here.
I know the place is filling up, too.
It is.
It's exciting.
I know.
All right. Go get ready.
Totally. Thank you all.
Thank you. Who you are?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Imani Rubric. I'm the Executive Director for Affinity Community Services. We serve Black LGBTQ women, other LGBTQ communities of color, and marginalized genders, and we do it from the south side of Chicago.
Yes, and she is my hero. I love this woman. Yeah.
You're too
I can't wait to listen to you tonight because, you really are such a beautiful speaker, and you're going to be one of the moderators as well. So we've got all four moderators have been up. What are you hoping to find out from the candidates?
You know, honestly, I'm really interested in intersections of identities and specifically things that impact LGBTQ folks differently than other folks. So really interested to hear about health about.
Yeah.
Are there some specific issues for women of color that you want them to address at all?
You know, I'm interested in intersections of identity. So, when I say housing issues, I'm thinking LGBTQ women of color in particular. That's the community that I serve. So that is what I'm most interested in. Okay. I mean, this affects everyone, but I am most interested in how this affects the most marginalized and the most vulnerable communities.
Do you feel that under this administration that issues for LGBTQ women of color have worsened?
This administration has done some things that have been very challenging for communities. And when we talk about the most marginalized Black women, and so that is something that I'm very, very concerned about because this administration.
Clarifying,
thank you.
Right there, because but even with Rauner right now,
yeah,
it's been very
interesting
interesting in terms of budget being passed.
There's no budget. So.
There's no budget, and then funding for these agencies that are out there serving the underserved communities are affected or impacted. Has Affinity felt any direct impact because of the Illinois budget?
Yeah, that is something that is incredibly irresponsible to not have a budget. I mean, and I don't know what else to say about that. Even for organizations that aren't particularly impacted because they're not funding organizations, we still feel those things because it makes other foundations, other funding sources, we see that those are more helping people in different ways. And so that really has been disruptive to the way that we all do our work.
Gotcha.
Well, it sounds like we got some great questions that are going to be asked for our gubernatorial candidates here. Imani Rubric, thank you so much for being here, for being a moderator, and for all the work that you do here in Chicago. It's come to Chicago just to go see her. I'm telling you.
Come by.
I know. That's right. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, of course. So I think we got the sign from Anthony,
our fearless leader.
Our fearless leader. Are we wrapping it up? Are you coming up? You come up.
We can wrap it up.
We're gonna wrap. Well, then tell people. This is Anthony Galloway. He's with Equality Illinois.
Yes.
He's been organizing everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thank you all for being. I just love both of you show. Did you all tell the people about?
There you are. So you can do that.
And I'm Isaac King, and I'm the co-host of the SIP radio show on Urban Broadcast Media, broadcasting every Friday from 6 to 7 p.m.
So we're going to wrap up this portion of the show. So thank you all so much for doing this. And if the folks in Bloomington, East St. Louis, Carbondale, Quad Cities, Bloomington Normal, and Peoria could just take a break for just a moment. Use the restroom.
Go do it.
We'll be right with you. Thank you to you all.
We'll be back with the main
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.